guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, we're covering part 2 of the story I covered earlier, all about the army guy who found out that his fiancée isn't exactly an angel. And where we ended, he and his dad were forming a big plan to get her out of his life. And you all recall his soon-to-be ex-fiancée Becky is an absolute just the devil woman. I mean, on so many levels. So now we're going to jump into things, the plan they form. And let me tell you, it's a good one getting her out of his life. And of course, this dude certainly has the last laugh, as you're going to see and certainly expect. So he continues on with his story. He says, Part 2. As I was driving home, I decided to try and act as normal as possible around Becky until my plan was in place. Well, I'm sure that was very difficult. I thought of her flipping out and burning down my house. That solidified my determination to be as cool as possible around this deranged, awful person. Becky came home shortly after I arrived. She asked me how my day off was and said the man cave would soon be done. Remember, gentlemen, women aren't stupid. Okay? Well, plenty are, but they're smart in the way they can sense things about guys if something's off. If your voice is different, if your body language is different, if you do things a little different that's out of your routine, they're going to notice this stuff. And a cheater is going to be on high alert. So this guy really has to put on a really good show. Well, she said she was going to go take a shower, then cook dinner. After a few minutes, I jumped into the shower and joined her. This didn't surprise her, and she said something like, I could never wait. I grabbed her face and held it. I looked her directly in the eyes and said, if you're going to be my wife, you're going to give me everything. She just looked at me for a minute and started kissing me. Well, as you can imagine, what happened in the shower that day, Lieutenant Wimpy's prized buttercup was now a beat-up bullseye of a dartboard. I was having fun with this deranged lunatic, and she had no idea what was coming for her. Well, looks like you got your backdoor action. I guess you just sprayed some shampoo in her ass and went to town. Okay, you got that. That day in total was the beginning of my RP journey. Well, by the way, I hope you didn't catch anything doing that. No protection in the shower. Well, 2 days later, I met with my father at his house after work, and he gave me several packets of the copied letters. I asked what all the copies were for, and he started telling me his plan. He said to please hear him out, and said the best way to break a weld is to understand the weld. The type of steel, methods, and techniques used, the temperature and times, etc. I said I didn't understand. He said only a safe cracker can crack a safe. He went on to explain the best person to help get Becky out of my life was my mother. Fight fire with fire. Remember, this is the mother who he has nothing to do with, for obvious reasons. Because guess what? She's like Becky. This completely blew my mind. He said, son, your mother loves you, and she would do anything to get you back in her life. Your mother could teach a master class in deception and unfaithfulness. With her years of experience, Becky has no chance against your mom. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing, but my father said made sense to me. I asked him, how do we do that? He said to call my mom and tell her everything and ask her for the help, and she would know how to deal with this. He also said one of the packets of the copied letters would be sent to my mom. He then laughed and said to be sure that I called her collect. Well, I called my mom, and when she realized it was me calling, she started to cry. Oh, for goodness sake. She told me she was so worried about me when I was overseas and heard that I was going to get married. I said, yes, Mom, but that's why I'm calling you. I explained everything to her and asked her to please help me. She immediately said yes and cautioned me not to do anything rash. Don't let Becky know what I know, and for me to send her the letters. After she read the letters, she'd come up with a plan, and she guaranteed me Becky would never be a problem for me again. Well, obviously you didn't want to deal with your mom, but if there's anybody to get rid of her and come up with a plan, it's an old school woman like this. She says something like, I'm going to get that little floozy. How ironic, right? I told her to call me at my work after she got the letters. I updated my dad on the conversation and my doubts, and he looked me straight in the eyes and said in a lower voice, you have no idea what your mother's capable of, and you need to turn her loose. I said okay, and would wait for my mother to get back to me. After about a week or so, my mother called and offered her help. She explained what I should do. I was apprehensive of what she was telling me, and she said it couldn't be that simple. She said, and I said it couldn't be that simple, and she said, it is that simple. I told my father my mom's plan, and he laughed. He said that cunning bitch, she's going to get this. She's going to use this and get 100% back into your life. And I said, yep, looks like that, but reminded him it was his idea to get her involved. Do not think for a second the mom here wasn't just doing this out of her love for her boy. She's using this to get back in his life. But if this is what it takes, now he can deal with that with her later on. He said he knew that, but didn't think she'd take it that extreme, and the final decision was up to me. I told my dad I was actually getting excited. I hated my mom for what she did, but I did still love her. If it could destroy Becky and perhaps get some resemblance of a relationship back with my mom, it would be a win-win in my eyes. My dad said, yeah, how ironic is that? Now, SSM, some things my mother told me on the phone mimic some of your commentary that you give on your channel. This is what instantly attracted my attention to your work. It wasn't a man giving this advice, it was my mother, a certified liar and cheater giving this advice. My mother prepped me with her plan by saying some simple things. Now, he's going to give me a list of like 9 or 10 things his mom tells him, and see how similar this is to the shit I tell you guys all the time for the last 5 fucking years. Which goes to show, you don't take advice from women about things, but they know the fucking game. Number 1. No matter what Becky is telling me, it's only part of the truth. You mean trickle truth? Number 2. It is clear from the letters, Becky is keeping the other guy as a backup plan that she can access whenever she needs it. My mom guaranteed me this means she will continue to see him and is still communicating with him. Number 3. Because he's the backup, I am the stable provider type that she has chosen to play like a game board because I'm predictable and controllable. Well, she's right. This is why women are with the nice guy, because they're predictable and controllable. They have their heart. But that dumbass Lieutenant Wimpy, whatever he was calling him, he was professing his love so she can control him too. Number 4, when things get tough or to the point she can't control her life with me, Becky will self-initiate her backup plan. Number 5, it is highly probable she has multiple men waiting in the wings as a backup plan. Of course. I wasn't joking when I said she probably has multiple dudes in the military that had $250,000 life insurance policies. Probably one of them ended up statistically, and she got money. Number 6, watch her patterns and try to account for every minute of the day and every day of the year. 7, watch her money. It's not only what she spends, it's what she doesn't spend. Becky is the type to have these backup guys paying for everything. If she says she's going home to visit her parents and no money is spent from her account that week, that probably means a backup guy is paying for it. Number 8, don't change any of my patterns or habits. Women can sense when their man is thinking something is going on. What I tell you about women aren't stupid. They can pick up on shit. Your tone of voice, your body language, all that. They know, and the ones that are cheating really know because they know they're up to no good. Number 9, this one got me. My mom said that while she was living with me, Becky would come to me saying my mother was stressing her out, and she would use the situation to ask for things she wouldn't normally get asked out for, like girls' trips, girls' nights out, a trip home to see her parents, a work trip, etc. She'd use that time to see a backup plan and keep him close and ready to go. My mom said to give her all the rope she needs to hang herself. There you go. So that's 9. He couldn't do 10, but that's 9. Sound familiar, gentlemen? She knows. She knows the game. So my mom's overall plan was to move in with me. Slowly suffocate Becky's strong-willed character to the point that she blew up, gave me an ultimatum, and then leaves me. There ain't nothing like a mother-in-law moving in to drive a wife absolutely fucking crazy. Genius. And you guys get to hear all about it. It sounded too simple, but here is how it went. Almost everything that happened, my mother predicted. She told me what to say, what to do, and told me how Becky would reply and react. It was amazing. Because human nature isn't that hard to figure out. Men do what they do. That's why us guys know how we operate. That's why for you fathers out there that want to warn your daughters about a certain type of guy, and of course they ignore you and everything like that because we understand men. Well, guess what? Women understand women. Mothers understand. This is why mothers are protective of their sons, because they can see through the shit, because they did the same shit too. Well, I arrived home from work, and Becky was cooking dinner. She loved to cook, and her cooking really wasn't quite excellent. I hugged her and I told her I wanted to sit down and talk after dinner. She seemed a bit on edge that I wanted to talk. See, you're acting different. The cheater, she knows something's up. After dinner, I told her that I spoke to my mother on the phone. She asked me what happened and thought that I hated my mom. I told Becky that my mom was going through a tough time financially because her boyfriend threw her out. I told Becky, although I had my disagreement with my mother, I needed to step up as a son and help her out. I informed Becky that my mother would be coming to live with us. But it would only be for a month, until she got things worked out, and that was my decision. I then asked her to go the extra mile for my mom, and I really hoped our relationship would start to mend. And I wanted to take advantage of the month so she'd be spending with us. Genius. I could tell Becky wasn't particularly fond of the idea, but said she would support me. She suggested turning the man cave into an apartment for my mom, complete with kitchen, bathroom, shower, etc. Inside, I was dying laughing because I knew she was trying to confine my mom to the basement. Becky's not stupid. I said, hell no, my mom doesn't deserve my man cave, and she can stay in one of the 3 empty bedrooms. I could see that Becky was frustrated. The plan was put into action, and my mother arrived a week later. I told Becky to prepare a nice dinner for my mom. I would pick up my mom at the airport, and we should be home for dinner. Of course, my mother put on the waterworks when she saw me, but it was a good conversation driving her back to my house. My mother gave me all kinds of advice on how to deal with Becky and to let my mother take the lead. I'm going to stop right there and say what probably a lot of you guys are thinking. Wouldn't it be crazy if, the mom does her plan and it works, and gets rid of Becky, and then mom refuses to leave, and now he's stuck with his fucking mom in the house? But we'll see how this plays out. Okay, back to the story. Well, upon arriving at my house, my mom was hugging all over Becky, saying how beautiful she was, and beautiful our children were going to be, blah, blah, blah. We sat down and started eating dinner. My mom was making small talk, asking Becky about her job, her family, and food she cooked, and how she cooked it. A few times my mom raised her eyebrows, and I could tell Becky was a bit annoyed, but put up with my mom's questioning. After dinner, we sat in the living room, talking for a few hours. While talking, my mom would make little jabs about the furniture, not sending the right signal, etc. I could see Becky just suffering through my mom's blabber. Oh, those mothers. I told my mom we needed to get to bed and showed her to her room. We said goodnight, and Becky and I went to our room. Here we go. Your mom's a fucking bitch. Becky asked me if I thought my mom didn't like her cooking and what she was trying to do to imply by her furniture. I said, please don't start any arguments with my mom, and she didn't mean anything by it. We woke up in the morning to the smell of bacon and coffee. My mom had hijacked Becky's kitchen and made a nice breakfast. Uh-oh, because Becky's the cook. As we were eating, I said, this is the way it should be every day. My mom asked Becky if she made breakfast for me, and Becky said we both worked, so that was very hard to do. But cooked me for every night, though. My mom looked at me and said, don't worry, honey. While I'm here, I'll have breakfast ready for you every day, and then looked at Becky. Now, this kind of nitpicky woman drama went on for about 3 weeks. I could see Becky was getting mentally tired of my mom. One night, Becky told me she was getting stressed out over my mom. Here and was happy she'd be leaving in a week. I said, don't worry, babe. She'll be gone a week. I told my mother what she said, and my mother told me to tell Becky in a few days that my mother needed more time and she'd be staying another month. Easiest way to get rid of Becky. My mother assured me Becky would be upset and demand I do something because my mother was stressing her out. Well, to start of week 4, I broke the news to Becky my mom would be staying another month. What I wouldn't give to be a fly on that wall to hear that conversation. Now this went on for 5 straight months, and during that time, Becky would get pissed off and complain and say she needed time away from my mother. I agreed, and she took 3 trips home to see her family. I'm not going to describe all the drama, so I'll fast forward. Dude, we're here for the drama. Let's be honest here. A lot of guys want to hear the drama, but I'm sure it wasn't good. And just like your mom said, she's suddenly going to take trips back home. And what do you think she's doing? She's meeting with her other guy, or guys, getting her plan in place. On the 5th month, you dragged this out for 5 fucking months with your mom there. Man, I gotta say, Becky was determined not to break, but All it takes is a mother-in-law, or a potential mother-in-law, to do that. On the 5th month, I dropped the Moab on Becky. I told her my mother would be living with us permanently, and it would be great because she could help raise our kids after we got married. Becky blew up and said she could not live with my mother. A week later, she told me she was moving back to Maine because I had become a different person and she couldn't spend her life living with my witch of a mother. Thanks, Mom. I begged her not to go, but she was set. He begged her to keep up the show, guys. Shortly after that, a big U-Haul came, packed up all her shit, and she was out of my life. Awesome. It only took 5 months. I don't know if she actually went back to Maine, but I didn't care. I was free. My mother's plan was so simple, it was nuts, but it worked. All it took was a live-in mother-in-law to be eyeballing her about every single thing and question everything that she did. My mother smothered her, and like she said she would, and it drove Becky away. Awesome. Now you gotta get rid of your mom. To this day, I laugh about that. It's like you said, SSM, don't try to understand women. Women understand women, and they hate each other. Well, that's part of my story. I don't think the rest needs to be told, as it didn't apply to you, SSM. I'm sure there was more. I want to know how long your mom was there. But fine, you got Becky out. But to note, like you say, they always come back. 3 years later, Becky called me saying she should have been more understanding of my mother's situation and asked if we could meet and talk. I guess it didn't work out with her guys, huh? I said I have to think about it, but for her to give me her address, as I still have some of her mail and wanted to send it to her. Well, she gave me an address in Texas and said she took a traveling nurse job in Texas. She also told me it would be easy to get her old job back near my house. I told her I'd send the mail to her and for her to give me time to think about meeting up with her. He's fucking with her, of course, guys. She asked me if she could call me again, and I said that'd be fine. The next day at work, I looked up Lieutenant Wimpy. He was stationed about 40 minutes away from her address, and how interesting. Shocker. Guess like she's getting bored with him. I packed up her mail and copied 27 letters that she never knew I had. I put in an envelope, an express package with a card that had a short message. The message read as follows. Dear Buttercup, fuck off and never contact me again. With love and affection, yours truly. And he says, yes, Lieutenant Wimpy got what was coming to him, and my life has been fair ever since. Thank you, SSM. I'll continue to watch your channel and promote it. Damn, dude, that was one of the more entertaining stories I covered in a long time. I'm obviously filming this before I come up with the title and the picture. I really hope later on in the creative process I can come up with a title that's so good that all you fucking guys want to watch this because guys are going to miss this if I don't make a good title for this story. But anyhow, that was great. I'm sorry you went through that. I really am. I had your heart broken. But let's look at the silver lining here. Thank God, you found all this out before you married her. And thank God your dad and his genius plan and the very unexpected ally of your mother. Now, I'm sure everybody here is saying, what happened to the mom? Did she stick around and refuse to leave? Did you have to somehow burn the house down to get her out? Was she still in your life afterwards? Did you cut her off? We want to know these things. But, we'll leave that up to mystery. But the point is, you got rid of her. So, what have we learned from all this, guys? Because we got to learn shit as well as get quality entertainment. If you're in the military, do not get married. Do not get engaged. Don't do relations. Wait until you're out. There are plenty of gals out there that are looking for a guy like that in the bar where they're having their clam chowder or whatever is the local cuisine that's awesome. And we'll fuck them and then continue fucking them in a different way. And get those guys to fall in love with them, marry them, and then when they're off being deployed, they got other ones out there. Don't do it. Wait till you're out. Does this mean that every single girlfriend or wife of a military man is going to behave this way? No. Make that clear. But enough of them do. They should just wait till you get out. But it doesn't mean when you get out that shit won't happen too. But you got to be careful. But don't do it in the military. As well as a girl that you bang the first night. There's having a date with a girl, like a proper date, and then bang her the first night. No, that ain't girlfriend material. But especially if you just meet some chick in the bar with your bros and you hit it off and you bang her the night, it's even worse. That ain't girlfriend material. Certainly not wife material. Learn from this. I don't care how hot she is, how lonely you are. Don't do that. And of course, they always come back right there. And of course, also human nature. Men are men, women are women. It's all predictable. But that list his mom gave him of all the instructions, all 9 of them. I still don't know why there could have been 10, but I need things in even numbers. But it was odd numbers 9. She knew. She knows her kind. Exactly. That's why for you guys out there when you were young, your mamas, if they were good mamas, oh, they're watching your girlfriends that came in, or your fiancés or wives. That's what they do, because they know their fucking nature. And that's why fathers out there, when they see their daughters with these guys, and they know, they can see right through them. They know what they want. They know how the guys operate. Particularly if you fathers out there were once a Chad in your younger years before you settle down. You know how it works. And the daughters don't want to hear it. You don't understand him, Dad. Bullshit, daughter, I don't understand him. But anyhow, that was a great story. And I don't know how the rest of your life went, man, but I certainly hope it went well. I'm glad you got that land and property back. I'm glad you had a great relationship with your old man. And I would imagine that you certainly made the right decisions afterwards. So, bro, great story. I really appreciate you taking the time. It was a long fucking story. Sorry I had to skip over your childhood, but I want to stick to the main things for this channel here. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm going to say this now. Well, I'm thinking, for those of you who are still here, if you actually want to hear about his childhood, me to do a prequel to this story, let me know in the comments section. If there's enough of you to say so, I'll do a prequel so you can hear everything that led up to this shit. Just let me know. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.